Okay, so good morning, everyone. So my name is Pawan, as Prashan already introduced, right? So I've been in SAP from past. It's almost about 4 years of experience I have. So yeah, so I have been working with S4 HANA from past 3 years, and SAP ECC for past 1 year. So overall experience of 4 years I have in SAP S4 HANA implementation, as well as one support project and one testing project. So yeah, so let me just get to the basics, right? So what exactly is, so I'll, Prashant, it's recording, right? Yeah.
Yes, it's recording, Pravan. You can
Mm.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just come to the basics now. So as you guys are aware of what a release strategy is, right? So I hope everyone are like aware, like what a release strategy, classic release strategy process is in SAP ECC. So I'll just give a brief. SAP ECC had an classic release strategy approval process, which is a business requirement. It's based on how an approval can be set up in order to approve many of the purchasing documents as such, right? So in procurement, you all guys are aware, like we have multiple purchasing documents, right? For which, based on the business requirement, it undergoes few of the approval process. For example, if I give an example, if a purchase order exceeds above maybe 5,000 INR or USD based on the currency which is set up, right? So it has to undergo multiple approval process. So in a business, a company, it's required to be, is to set up an approval process in such a way that it has to undergo few of the approvals. First, maybe from starting with the manager and senior manager level, and then VP. So it depends on the business, right? So for that, we used to have a classic release strategy which was enabled in SAP ECC. So you all guys are aware of how it was set up in SAP ECC, right? So we used to have multiple configurations which we had to maintain in the backend. Like as such, just to give a brief, the release codes, the release indicators, and I hope all of you are aware about release strategy process. I'm hoping that. So just to give an introduction, that's how the approval process was set up in SAP ECC. So coming to S4HANA, and I hope everyone are new to S4HANA. So just let me just give a brief introduction. So S4HANA is nothing but it's a fourth gen. So how SAP ECC was still R3 process, R3. So as the name suggests, right? S4, it's a fourth gen, a new database which SAP has introduced from 1501. So this flexible workflow, they have introduced a new concept called flexible workflow, which is I'll just change the slot. Okay. So as you can see here, flexible workflow is a scenario based workflow. So this is not a complete replacement for release strategy, right? So it's just an alternate. So this flexible workflow which is there, it's a scenario based workflow. I will get to that, what a scenario based workflow is and what are start conditions. We don't have to get confused. So it just, for now, you guys remember that it is like a release strategy how we had in ECC, how we used to, we used to set up this release strategy, and then you go to ME29, or if it is a purchase order or a purchase requisition, you go to a certain T code and there you have to approve it, right? So then once it is approved, then you do the goods receipt and then you do the invoice. That's how it was, right? So here in S4 HANA, it's very simple, like, flexible workflow, they have made it very simple. Like release strategy, there were multiple levels of configurations which we had to maintain, right? So here in flexible workflow, they have removed everything. There are only two setups which has to be done. I will show you that in the system as well. So once that is done, and there are other configurations which are maintained by other business experts like ABAP experts and basis team. So they have to maintain few workflow setups to trigger. So that is not our part. So I will just show you what a procurement or an consultant has to do from their end, in order to set up flexible workflow in S4HANA system, right? So as you can see here, flexible workflow is a scenario based workflow. So every purchasing documents, as you guys are aware of, like we have multiple purchasing documents coming from internal document like purchase requisition to external document like purchase order or a goods receipt or an invoice or a RFQ request for quotation. And just stop me in the middle if you guys have any question. Prashun, like if anyone is raising their hand, just let me know. Like I
Yeah,
will be
sure,
able to stop.
sure, sure. Every
Like just
slide
stop
we
me in
will,
the middle. If
every,
anyone has any doubt, they can just stop me in the middle. Or if I'm like going too quick, also just let me know. I will slow down a bit.
at this moment it's very good, no issues.
Mm.
So if anything is there at every slide, we can ask the questions. We can pause and
Mm.
you can pause and ask any questions are there. If not,
Mm.
you can proceed further. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Okay, so let me just, yeah. So flexible workflow, as I told you, so it is not a replacement for release strategy, right? So release strategy is still there in S/4HANA. And there are again one more concept called SAP business workflow, which we used to use along with release strategy. That is also there in S/4HANA, but SAP recommends to use flexible workflow going forward in S/4HANA because it's very simple and flexible workflow is something which you can use. There is a concept of Fury as well. I will show you that as well. And this is set up everything in Fury apps. So this can be used in your mobile phones, in your tablet, and anywhere as such. So you don't have to go to log into SAP ECC or I mean S4HANA here, this system, how we log in, and the manager doesn't have to go and approve it from here, right? He can just use his mobile phone if he has this app downloaded or the URL of flexible, the Fury app, he can just go there and he can just approve it once the flexible workflow is set up in the system. So it's that simple. So SAP has made it that simple, and they've removed all the complications of this configurations which you used to maintain. And we used to have multiple TRs, transport requests, right? So when you used to configure this in release strategy, all this release codes, release indicators, and everything. So it was not system specific. So we used to maintain it in one system, and then we used to transport it to QA2, and from there it goes to production, right? For QA2 quality system, and then it goes to the production system. First, we have to maintain it in the development system, and then we have to move it to quality system, and then the production system. So that's how it works, right? And as you guys are aware, so there are multiple release strategies we used to maintain under classification tab, right? So if you have to use a plant or currency or any other company code which has to be maintained, if that as a release strategy, then we have to go to classifications, and there we have to, I'll show you in the system. I'm just giving you brief so that you guys refresh your memory on release strategy, right? So you have to we used to maintain it in the classification tab. There we used to maintain for which plant it has to be released, for which purchase group as such. We used to maintain that. So that used to be always like complicated, right? So SAP has introduced this flexible workflow concept, right? So we can have a multiple level of approvers or a single level of approvers here. Everything is in the app. Everything is maintained in Fury app. So you don't have to do anything. So there are only two configurations. That's just an activation which you have to do, that is done in the backend, and then everything is done in the Fury app. So I will show you that. Right, as you can see here, only one. And one more thing is, yeah, only one release strategy can be used at a time. Either it is classic release strategy or flexible workflow. So that is how it is. So SAP recommends to use flexible workflow in S4HANA for all the business, like whoever is implementing, whichever business is implementing S4HANA. So for their approval process, they recommend to use flexible workflow. So it's that, as the name suggests, it's very flexible enough to be set up, right? And it also supports this push notification. I will come back to it, like what a push notification is. And it supports in Fury 2.0 means, so yeah, we have like starting with 1.0, 2.0, and now it's 3.0. So it supports this push notifications from 2.0. That is like how similarly we have our WhatsApp notification or Instagram or whatever. Whenever there is a message, we get a notification in our phone, right? Similarly, in Fury, whenever a manager or a VP or anyone has to approve a purchase order or a purchase requisition or anything to that matter for which release strategy, I mean, flexible workflow is applicable, so they will get a notification saying that approve this purchase order, approve this purchase requisition. So it's that simple and that flexible they have made it. So everything UI based workflow this is. So yeah, coming to the next part, you can see here, see there are multiple, see this is how the app looks like. I'll show you in the Fury system as well. So these many apps are there. So you can see manage, this is the name of the app, right? So these are the purchasing documents. You can see purchase orders, purchase requisitions, supplier invoice, RFQ, purchase contracts, service entry sheet as well, scheduling agreement. For everything you have workflows. So you just have to go to this app and maintain the start condition, and I'll show you what the start condition is. So it's that simple. You just have to go to maintain. Once the configuration which I told you in the backend is maintained, you just have to come here and just maintain the start conditions and give the users or recipients who has to approve it, and then it goes to them for the approval process. So these are the multiple apps which are there for the purchasing documents. So it again based on the business requirement for which purchasing document we want to set up the flexible workflow that can be done, and that is done by the business process specialist. So I'll come back to it, right? So every Fury app, like how in SAP end users will have, based on the rules which is set up to their ID, so they will have access to only few of the T codes, right? So here also in Fury also it's such. So it depends on what role you have. Like if I'm a purchaser, so I can create only purchase orders. I can only change the purchase order. So I don't have any other role. I'm a warehouse clerk, so I can only do the goods receipt. Similarly, a business process specialist is the one who can only do the configurations. So every user ID in SAP, like you guys all have a user ID. So that user ID will have particular roles assigned to it, right? So they will have to do only that activity, like coming to purchasing or goods receipt or an invoice specialist who does only invoice, right? Those are, I'm talking about the end user's perspective, like how the business has to be set up, right? And we being a consultant or a domain expert, we have access to everything, right? We have to do the configuration. That is only our thing. We do only the configuration, and rest everything is done by the business. Like whatever they need, like how the approval process has to be set up, what is the amount there it has to be set up, like above which amount, the release has to be triggered, the work has to be triggered. Everything is done by the business. We just have to set up in the back end, right? So these are all the apps which Fury SAP S4HANA has introduced for procurement. So we'll just go to procurement. So there are multiple other apps as well. For sales document, we have, that is the SD part. So for WM also we have, for FI also we have accounting documents as such. So let's not go there. So we have these many multiple documents for our purchasing, like flexible workflow, which we use based on the business requirements, right? So purchase orders, purchase requisitions, and all that. And
Okay,
again, comment.
any
Yeah.
questions? Okay, we'll give a pause here. Any questions
Yes.
till now? So all are clear with the concept which is explained by Pawan. So are you able to understand what is classic release strategy and flexible workflow, like a okay or yes? So we can proceed further. Okay. So all are silent means all are okay. Okay. Go with next slide.
Okay. I hope, yeah,
Yeah.
everyone
Thank you.
is understanding. Yes. So, as I told you, I already mentioned, like, there are few of the new features they have introduced in flexible workflow, which is not there in release strategy at all. I will show you that, right? So as you can see, start condition is nothing but here in flexible workflow, we say start condition, and we mention it as start condition, right? So there in release strategy, we used to maintain under classification. As I told you, if it is a currency, like any document type, which or a material group, company code, or a net value, which we give, and everything we maintain under classification. So we had only few, it depends on the business again. If we had few of the starting conditions which we used to maintain, but here in flexible workflow, we have multiple starting conditions. I will show you that. And again, based on the business requirements, we can implement body. I mean, I'm just not going technical part there, but again, on based on the business requirement, we can customize and maintain as much as starting conditions as we need. Whatever the starting condition, whatever the business needs, WBS or whatever cost center, anything can be maintained as a starting condition in flexible workflow app, which we didn't have in release strategy, right? And there is something called validity period, right? So that we never saw it in release strategy. There, it is not applicable in release strategy, but in flexible workflow, we have something called validity period. So we can, starting from today to maybe 2 months, that workflow has to be valid, right? So we can set up that as well. So in release strategy, we never had that concept, no validity period concept at all. And again, coming to step sequence, again, that I will show you in the Fury app. So let's not get confused there. So that is also not there in release strategy. And class and characteristics, you all are aware, right? What are the characteristics and class we used to maintain? First, we used to maintain characteristics. There we used to, give the values and such, and then we used to keep it in the class, and then we used to assign that class to the release groups, and then release indicators, release codes, and everything. It was kind of complicated, right? So that everything is they've removed. Nothing is there in flexible workflow. No class, no characteristics, no release code, no release indicator, nothing. It is just a simple app where we maintain the start condition and give the recipients. That's it. So class, characteristics, everything is eliminated in flexible workflow. And again, there is, let's not go there. I'll just give you a brief. There is a concept called HCM, or HCM, which is human resource management. It is human capital management or whatever. And it is a separate module. It is a separate module in SAP. And even they have certain, like, configurations which you have to do. I will show you that. If a purchase manager who has to approve this purchase requisition or purchase order through my inbox app, I'll show you that it goes to my inbox app. I told you, right? They have a certain app which is configured to their role in their system ID, and it goes to them for approval. How in release strategy, we used to go to ME29 for purchase order, or ME54 in purchase requisition, and we used to go and approve it. We used to go to that line, header item there. We used to have release strategy tab, and then we used to go and approve it, right? So here nothing is there as such. There is a my inbox app in Fury, and you will get a work item there. I mean, whoever has to approve, and they just go and approve. So for that, for them to receive that message, right? Like when the approval is triggered, when to go to my inbox. So there is a workflow which is set up, and that ID which is there. So that I will come back to it. So that ID has to be integrated with the business partner. I will tell you that. So that is done by the HCM consultant. So we don't have to worry about that. I will just show you what has to be done from a procurement and MM perspective, and that's it. We have to maintain, and the rest everything will be maintained by ABAP, and workflow will be maintained by ABAP consultant, and this user ID will be integrated to business partner by the HCM consultant, right? And there is again a really good feature which they've introduced, is deadline. So this deadline concept is not there in release strategy also. So in flexible workflow, there is deadline concept. Like when a purchase manager gets this approval, right? So he will have a deadline. We have to maintain that in the manage workflow app. And there, once the deadline is maintained, for example, today I create a purchase order above 500 euros or 500 USD, and it will go to a purchase manager for approval. So this has to be approved within a week. So within 1 week, it has to be approved. By next week, it has to be approved, and we can maintain that deadline in flexible workflow. And the purchase manager, when he goes to my inbox, he goes and checks. So he will have that deadline in the red. It will be marked as it has to be approved by 1 week. So that time he will take his action very quick, right? So he has to approve it by 1 week. So that concept also was not there in release strategy. They have introduced in flexible workflow. So this is a very good feature which they have introduced, right? So it is very user friendly, and it is very simple compared to release strategy. So SAP recommends to use flexible workflow instead of release strategy in the business, like whoever is implementing S/4HANA in their system going forward, right? Yeah, and this is the basic step, like how we maintain, right? First is we go to manage workflow for, like, I'll just take an example of purchase order here. It can be purchase requisition, contracts, or anything. First, we go to manage workflow for purchase order, and we maintain the setup condition, or like whatever the euro net values or company code for which it has to trigger, right? We maintain that, and then simple how we go to ME21N and we create a purchase order. And then once you create a purchase order based on the conditions which we have set up, like For example, company code and value of 500 euros and above, it has to trigger the workflow. So that has to be met when we create a purchase order. So once that is met, it will trigger the workflow, and I'll show you how it shows. How it was showing as a release strategy tab in the header level. Here it is a different tab. I will show you that as well. It's a flexible workflow tab which is shown here. That will trigger only if the conditions are met, which you maintain in this app. Okay, so in this app we maintain the conditions and then we create a purchase order using ME21N. So this apps which you can see, it is same. It is like how we have ME21N. It is that only. That is made it as it as a tile, and there are a few other apps also which they have introduced. That let's not get there. We'll go to that Fury whole part of Fury apps later. And then once it is maintained, there is again manage purchase order. There's one more app where if you want to go and change, like how we go to ME22 and then change, right? Where you create a purchase order, and then if you want to make any changes to the purchase order, we go to ME22 and we do the changes. So similarly, we have an app called manage purchase order. There we can manage the purchase orders, like we can do any changes we want, and then we can save that. And then, as I told you, there is an app called My Inbox, where the purchase managers or whoever is maintained as a recipient who has to approve this, they will go to their My Inbox and they will check. So recipient as an approver, he approves the purchase order, or he can reject as well. So we have exception handling. I'll show you that if it rejects, what happens and everything, or if it is on hold, what happens and everything. And again, so there is one more app. So let's not go to in depth of this app, manage teams and responsibility. So this app is again to set up multi-level approvers. So here, this is a new app which SAP has introduced in HANA, where you can maintain a team. You can have a team owner, and then all the team approvers, like how if team owner might be a VP, and then the senior manager, managers, though this all will be the team members. So like that also we can set up, and we can have a multi-level approvers in SAP. So that app is manage teams and responsibility app. So that we can set up, and then that we can link to this workflow, and there we can maintain. So everyone who is the team members and team owners, it will go to them. One step approval, it will go. How in SAP release strategy, we have this release codes maintained, right? And in SAP release codes, I guess we had maximum of, can anyone tell like what is the maximum release codes we used to maintain in release strategy?
8.
Yes, correct. So eight is the maximum release codes which used to maintain. So here in flexible workflow, there is no limit. We can maintain any number of, any number of more than 8. Basically, more than 8 release, not release codes. The recipients or whatever. There is no release codes concept here. Recipients or the approvers, whoever the approvers are, we can maintain their ID and it goes to them. Again, we can set up multi-level approvers as such. Okay. Okay, now one second. Yes. So these are the, as I told you, right? These are the configuration steps. So the first configuration is the flexible scenario activation, which has to do in the system. I will show it in the system, how it is activated. And one more thing, it has to be activated at the document type level. Okay, so whatever the document type we use for purchase order, purchase requisition, those NB and everything, we can have a customized document type also, and we have to activate it for that document type. Only then the release strategy will trigger. The flexible workflow works. We have to activate for the document type level, and then we have to maintain whatever the start condition. So once everything is met, right, only this, after that, this flexible workflow will trigger. I will show you that in the system. And this coming to maintain task and decision, client dependent configuration. So you don't have to worry about all this. So this is maintained by the workflow experts. There will be workflow experts also, ABAP consultant or whoever basis consultant. They will be workflow experts. They will set up this. So we just have to maintain this first two configuration, and we have to tell them like we need flexible workflow, and we have to give them, I'll show you that, we have to give them the workflow ID and task ID. That will be here. So this is how it is. You can get it in Google. Like you can just put flexible workflow. You can go to SAP portal, and they will get the workflow ID and task ID for every purchasing document. You can see purchase order, RFQ, requisition item, overall requisition, the whatever it is, like purchase, everything. All there are many other scheduling agreements of everything. There will be a workflow ID. This is very important. Okay, this workflow ID and task ID. We just have to tell the other, like the BAB and the basis consultant. They will just ask you what is the workflow ID and task ID. We have to tell them, and they will set up the workflow. We just have, I have to activate this in the system. For this workflow ID, we have to activate this flexible workflow. We have to activate, and then we have to activate for PR and whatever the purchasing document type level. Then everything is done by the other consultants. And then we come in the end, we come to manage workflow, which I showed you here. We come to this app and we maintain the conditions. That's it. And as I told you, so this is the same thing, workflow ID and task ID. These are the prerequisites. We have to know what is the, sorry, it's gone somewhere. Here it is, purchase order. This is the workflow ID, and again for requisition there are, and as you know, in requisition we have two things, overall release and item level release, right? So let's not go there, but yeah, again for overall release we have a different workflow ID, and for item level release we have a different workflow ID.
Pawan, I think your mic got muted. Pawan, hello.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
you
sorry,
just share your screen again. Somewhere it is disconnected.
sorry.
No issues, no issues.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, able to see your screen.
Yes. So where did I stop? I was
You're in the
right.
screen of, yeah, this screen.
Ah. So this is the first prerequisite which we have to know. So this we will get it in the Google. I mean, it is not confidential as such. We will get this in SAP portal only. So once you go here, we have to note down the workflow ID for which purchasing document we will use. We have to note down this workflow ID and task ID. That's it. And then again, I will not come to this concept. I'll just give you a brief. As I told you, a purchasing manager or a VP or anyone who has to approve this, right? So they have to have a business partner with a personal number. So they have to be an employee. So for that, you have to have an HR org structure set up in the system. So as I told you, that will be done by an HR consultant. Okay, you don't have to worry. So you have to tell them this purchasing manager for this ID, he has to have a business partner assigned to him with the personal number. So they will do everything. They will run a report, and they will, I'll show you how it looks in the table level also, where we can see if a purchasing manager has an user ID, and that how it shows in the, how we meet when we maintain them as an approver, right? We maintain this purchase manager as an approver. So when this purchase manager's user ID, only if this business partner is linked to that, only then that will appear in that purchase manage workflow app. Otherwise it will not show. We will not be able to set up them as an approver. So let's not get to this. Just a prerequisite it is. So this will be maintained by them, and this we have to know this workflow ID and task ID, and this it will be maintained by HR consultant. This is again the same thing, purchase manager personal number. And yeah, I will come to this flexible workflow scenario activation. We have an SPRO path here. We have to go to this path. There is two different paths. We can go from material management also, or we can go from SAP NetWeaver also. I will show you that path. Once you go to that path, we have to see, you can see here this 238. We have to activate this. We just have to activate it. So whatever scenarios we need, we have to activate it. I will show you how it looks before activating and how it looks after activating. So you will get to know. So once you go to Fury app, if you see a screen blank, then that means it's not activated. I will show you that. Again, this is one more configuration we maintain for PR and PO document type. I told you, right? For which purchase order, we go flexible workflow for purchase order, activate flexible workflow for purchase order. At the document type level, we have NB, we have UB and everything. Stock transport order, we have a document type. And we can maintain our own customized document type, and we can activate flexible workflow for that. PR, we have two. We have overall release and one more. And here, flexible for PO, there is only header level release. That is how we have set up. Like for purchase order, it's always header level release, right? Yeah, so we can have our own customized document type, and we can maintain flexible workflow for that. So whenever we use that document type only, it will start. I mean, it won't trigger, but it is a prerequisite. It has to be maintained. If you maintain for this and you go and create a purchase order for NB or ZNB, it won't work. This flexible workflow won't work. So it starts with the document type level. Okay. So we have to activate this. And this again, decision points and all this is again set up for, for everything, this my inbox setup and all, we need workflow ID. So that's why our ABAP consultant or anyone else who are maintaining, they will require this. They will require this workflow ID and step this ID they will know. Step ID they will know. You just have to tell them workflow ID, and they will come to this decision keys. They maintain, approve, reject, and all that. Everything will be maintained by them. You don't have to worry about this. So again, client dependent configuration. This is for my inbox, SAP my inbox. This everything will be set up by them itself. And then again, we have to do this activate event linkage and everything. You don't have to worry for everything, but note one thing: for everything you will have a this. You can see, right? You have to know this workflow ID. Everything. See, you can see here workflow ID is used everywhere. WS. Right, if this is not there, they won't be. So particularly for this workflow ID only, they will set up and trigger this workflow and everything. And this is again, I told you, this push notification, right? How in WhatsApp, Instagram and all, we get this notification, like purchase managers, when they have to approve, they will get this notifications, right? For that again, there is a one more configuration which has to be done. That is usually done by the basis team. We don't have to do that. We just have to, there is a business requirement, like they have to, and we have to enable the push notification. Then we have to tell the basis team, and they will, again we have to give them the workflow ID. Again we have to tell them for which workflow ID this has to be activated. You can see here, they will come to this T code. We won't have access. That depends. Again, we won't have access to this T code. Basis team will have access. They will come and activate it. It should be green here. You have to activate this. If this is activated, then that push notification bell icon, you will get it. I will show you in my inbox app. You will get that push notification. I will show you how it looks. And this again, and this is where we have to be. This the business will maintain, like what steps, conditions, and all we have to maintain, right? This manage workflow for purchase order. This is where we maintain in the app. We maintain the conditions and we maintain the approvers and everything. I will show you that. So these are the start conditions. So let me just quickly see. This is how. Yeah, this is how push notification looks like. Can you see here? There will be a bell icon in Fury app, and you will have the notifications here: approve purchase requisition, approve purchase order, and such. You will have with the number, and the manager will come and see. Oh, I have to approve this purchase order. He just clicks here, and he will come to the screen. This is the my inbox screen. Here he will have all the items. Approve this, and he will see what is the line item, or this material, and everything. Deadline also will come here. That is not set up here now, right now, but he can see a deadline here with the red tick mark, with the red icon. You can see a deadline, which I told you it's a feature introduced in HANA, which is not there in release strategy. So here he comes to the item level. I mean, in the my inbox, and he will see here what is the item, what has to be approved, and he has an option of approving, rejecting, and claim and forward and everything. That is different options. I will show you that. So once he is approved, the purchase requisition or purchase order will get approved. So in my inbox app, it will flow to the my inbox app once everything is met, all the conditions are met. And this exception handling and such, I will show you this. So now this is just a brief. So you will have a clear understanding now when I show it in the system, right? So let me just go to the system. I will log in as a consultant now. So what my duty is, I just have to go to SPRO, this one, and now go to materials management, purchasing. This all path, everything is there in the PPT, so you don't have to worry. You will know it. Purchase, how we used to go to release strategy to maintain. Similarly, go to purchasing, and which purchase document we have to maintain this flexible workflow. Purchase order means purchase order. Here you can see flexible workflow for purchase order. That's simple. We have release procedure for purchase order also. We have flexible workflow. It is right next to each other. In release strategy, we used to maintain characteristics, class, release procedure, release strategies, and everything we used to maintain here. Here we don't have anything. We have to come here and we have to go to scenario activation. See, I had activated it before. See, this is the workflow ID which I was talking about, 238, right, for purchase order. So let me go to the system. I will log on. First, I will show you how it looks like. This is the Fury user interface. I will show you. 12.
12.
Okay. See, this is how a Fury user interface looks like. Everything, all the apps, these are the tiles. This is nothing but like ME21 app. Right? Everything is maintained in tiles. Right. This can be used. You can access this through your mobile phone also or tablet also or anywhere. You just have to have this URL. You have this URL in your this thing, and you just go to Google, put the URL based on like all the other prerequisites. You will get this Fury app, and you can just go here and approve it or maintain whatever you have to maintain. You can maintain it here only. Okay, so this is manage teams and responsibility. I told you this app, so let's not go there where multi-level approach can be maintained. And now I'll show you how before activating this, how it looks like. See, go here and see there is currently no scenarios available. It is blank, right? There is nothing available which because it is not activated. Now I'll just activate this or this workflow ID, save it. This is transportable. Okay, only two settings are transportable. Rest everything is we have to maintain in the app only. No, yeah. See, now once I maintain this, come and refresh. See, now you can see the workflows, the multiple workflows set up, which are active, which are inactive, and everything. See, which is valid from, I told you, validity date also is there here. It's that simple. Valid from, valid to, and everything is maintained. Okay. So I'll just deactivate this and we'll create a new one. I just created this. Okay, let's create a new one. So just to create one, we have to go to this add, or we can select this and copy also. I'll create a new one. Just add a new workflow and we will create a purchase order and see how it looks like. You can give any name to this. So like this testing purchase order workflow, we'll see.
And they give SAP Guru
And
India
any
also.
description you can give, you don't have to anything based on the business requirement. This is the workflow name I've given. And again, I told you valid from. So this is valid from today to maybe next month, depends, like maybe 1 year or depends on when you need, right? So valid from valid to is given. And start condition, I told you, right? Only the start the workflow if all the following preconditions are met. This is a precondition which you have to be met. So first thing is you have to activate the workflow. You have to come here and activate the workflow. And yeah, the second thing is once you activate, you will get the screen. And then you have to come activate flexible workflow, purchase order. This I told you at the document type level, right? Here, when you come to document type level, here it is activated for this NANA or anything you can activate. So you can see here it is activated for this. So if this you use this document type when you use create purchase order, only then it will trigger. This is again the second prerequisite or the configuration which you have to maintain. And then are the start conditions. You can see there are multiple start conditions here. And if you need more start conditions, again, that is based on the business requirement. You can customize and maintain as much as start conditions you want. So I will just give first start condition is my company code. I'll give 1710. This has
Pawan,
to be met. If I create
Pawan,
a purchase order for this
Pawan,
company code,
Pawan,
yeah.
able to hear me? Okay. This regarding start condition. Okay.
Uh,
Are you going to show any one sample start condition creation in the system that will come in this drop down option?
oh, that is no, I'm not going to say that. That is again body and all we have to. That is a customization which we have to do. That
Okay,
is
that
based
that
on
is
business
just my
requirement.
concern. Yeah, that I'm
Yeah,
clear with that. So that
yeah.
start
This is
condition will
standard.
be required other like team support. There you can create all these things, right? Then only you can
Yes, yes,
choose here as a
yes,
start condition. Okay.
yes, yes,
In this screen you just go slow a little. Okay, so
yes,
others can understand it a little better way. Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will just show you what I'll compare. Let's compare this with the. 1 second. Array, it's slow. Okay.
Better you log in again because the time will be
Yeah.
there sometime, right? You just close it and log in again and
Mm.
just do the action.
It's stuck.
No problem. Take your time.
Yeah, it's here. Let's compare this with the release strategy. How we used to maintain a release strategy, right? And release strategy, go to purchase order. Here we have release procedure. Here we used to define release procedure for purchase order. Here release strategy we used to maintain. Or there is no release strategy maintained. And if you know here, once you maintain the release strategy, we go here and then we have a classification tab. There in classification we can maintain the characteristics values, right? Whatever in characteristics here in characteristics we used to maintain like PO net value or as such, right? Whatever here we used to maintain, and values we used to give description, whatever PO. Yes, I hope you guys are familiar, right? Like
Yeah, this is all are familiar. Only
yeah, so here
Lokesh is new, so he will learn in upcoming sessions. Okay.
here we used to
This is
maintain
not required, I think, Pawan.
yeah.
The classic one, you just skip it.
Hmm.
You just focus on flexible workflow only.
Yeah, I just that yeah, like this how we used to maintain here, and we used to give in classification. Similarly, there is nothing like that here. It just is the preconditions, right? First document type, and then these are the preconditions, and then step condition. So I'll just give company code as my first precondition, and if I want, I can add more also. I can give one more. I can give next one as purchase order price is, let's give greater than. Let it be greater than 500 INR. So whatever the purchase order we create from first, it has to be this company code first. The document type has to be satisfied, and then the company code, and then the price which we maintain. If any one is not satisfied, it won't trigger. Okay, this 500 INR, more than 500 INR, if a purchase order is created, it has to go to a certain approver. Okay, this is a start condition, and then I'll go to step sequence. Next, just go here to step sequence and add. Click on add, and here you can see automatic release of purchase order, release of purchase order. We have to click on release of purchase order. Automatic means it will, whatever this you maintain, it is of no use. You just it will, if you maintain this, it will release automatically whatever. Though the everything is maintained for NB and everything, though flexible workflow is maintained, if you have this automatic release, it will automatically get approved, and it will go to the next step. So we have to give release of purchase order. Okay, and again, yeah, this is very important. As I told you, there is role and user. So now we'll just give role again. It depends on, there is body, and again, I told you that we have to maintain and manage teams and responsibility, right? So there we have to maintain, and then based on roles. So roles are again that purchase manager or VP or anyone who is approving, they should have that certain role. So that will be maintained by the security team, right? We have to tell them, like, again, that is based on the business requirement. Security team will maintain that particular role, and then we maintain that here, and then that once that role is assigned to that particular user, and then they will get that approval request. So let's not go there, we'll just go it as a user. This is simple enough. We can maintain as a user. See, if you maintain it as a user, you have to go to this drop down, go here. So here you can see there are only two user IDs. As I told you, this pop-up here as a user ID will come only when that HR org structure is maintained. I told you, right? This particular user ID, like how I logged in now, Fury app with my user ID. This is similarly, this is a manager's, we can take it as a manager's user ID or anyone's. So to come here, to select this as a user ID, this has to be integrated with a business partner. He should be a business partner in the system. So that running that report and everything will be done by the HR team. Once that is done, those prerequisites are met. You can see here this pop-up. So now I'll select him. I'll just select this as an approver. You can select multiple, whatever, once it is maintained. I'll select OK. So again, you have two options here. One of the recipient, all the recipient. If you maintain like multiple recipients and you just click on one of the recipient, any one of the recipients approve, it will get approved and it will go to the next step. If you press on all the recipients, everyone has to approve, and then again that multi-level approvers and all, which who has to approve and when everything that will be in that manage response team and responsibility. You have to maintain a team, and there you have to maintain and everything. So that let's not go there. Let's keep it simple. Like I'll just give one user and he has to approve this now.
I have
He has
one
to approve
question.
this
I
purchase
have
order.
one question here, Pawan.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
If there are like more users are there, we added more user in this particular user. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any particular hierarchy which we will have in a classic release strategy? Like, okay, first the buyer, then the senior buyer, then manager, then VP. That
Yes.
role, that level will be there at hierarchy. Is there any
Yes.
such hierarchy in this
We can
flexible
maintain
workflow?
level 1, level 2, level 3 approvals around all. That we have to maintain in this. Let me go there.
That's
I'll
okay.
just
That's
do
okay. You just show it later. You can try out.
Yeah, I'll
Just
show you in that
yeah.
teams and responsibility app. There we have to maintain level 1, level 2 approvers and all that. Then it
Okay.
will come in that drop down level 1, level 2 approvers. We can select that in the step condition, and based on that levels which you maintain, first it will go to the level 1 approver, and then once he approves, it will go to level 2, level 3, like hierarchy based.
Okay. It's
Similar.
clear. Clear. Yeah.
So here I'm just giving a simple example. I just maintained one user and it will go to him and we'll see how it is approved. Right here, user and this user ID again, if an HR org structure is linked, if he has to maintain as a business partner, only then it will come here. It will come as a pop-up and one or all the recipients to maintain here. And again, start condition is like how we preconditions are there. Similarly, we can maintain start conditions here. It is the same thing. Again, if you need any extra conditions, we can maintain here, or you can just, it's an optional step. You don't have, if you want to maintain, you can maintain, or you can just go with the preconditions also. If anything else you have to maintain. And deadlines, I told you, right? Here it is not set up. Maybe there is another, once everything is maintained, maybe it will come. Here deadlines, again, we will have an option of maintaining deadline. And that I told you, when you go to my inbox, there you can see the deadlines, right? So here it is not set up. Let's see that later. Maybe there is some missing, some linkage or something is missing in the workflow. So once that is set up, you will get to maintain the deadline. We can maintain, like he has to approve by tomorrow, means you have to maintain the deadline, tomorrow's date, and it purchase manager or this user, whoever maintain, he will able to see. Oh, he has to be approve this by tomorrow. So he will take action. And error handling is nothing but if it is rejected, cancel the workflow. And again, we have action, we can maintain it as cancel the workflow, or if he rejects, again you can continue or repeat the step, or again restart the workflow. We have all the options here. So just let's maintain cancel workflow. If he rejects, the workflow will get cancelled and you have to create a new one again. Do nothing once it is cancelled. Okay, this is how exception handling works. So that is not that important. Like if it rejects and all, what we have to do, it will just cancel the workflow. So for now, I have maintained everything, user and everything, release purchase order. I'll just add it. You can see release of purchase order, who is the recipient. This is we'll consider him as a manager. And you can see here everything and just save it. Now, when you save it, everything is seen. You can see here company code, net value, and he has to release this. And now just come and activate. You can see here my workflow is here. So this, again, there are multiple workflows, right? So which is to trigger first and everything. We can give that here in define order. You have an option called define order. Here you can see now which order it has to be approved, right? So that again depends. See, with this same. I have 1710 here also, and I have given 1710 in mine also. So I want this to activate, this to be enabled first. So what I'll do, I'll just drag this and I'll keep this in the top, right? First will be this, and I have been deactivated. If I don't want to, I can just come and deactivate it here. It's that flexible, right? I can keep it active also, and if both are active, however, based on the define order, these orders are given, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 and all. This only will be activated first, triggered first. Okay, those both are activated. But for now, you can see that I have inactivated it. This is inactive, only this is active. So this only has to work first, whatever the 500 euros I've given and 1710. Let's see how it works. I'll just save it. Here you can see listing purchase order workflow. Right. So let's go to the system now. We'll create one purchase order. ME21N. What is the document type? I told you first document type, you have to make sure for which the document type it is active. Where is it? This is the document type. And vendor, you just give anything, and purchase of purchase group, company code. So this is the first prerequisite, it's met. And second one is the company code for which we are creating the purchase order is 1710. Second one is met. Now you take a material, give a quantity, and net price, as we know that this will trigger only if it is more than 500 euros, right? I'll maintain 500 euros. And okay, so okay, this has been taken from the purchase info record, the price. Okay, 1710. That doesn't matter. We'll increase this price to 500. Okay, now to it will trigger because it's 500 into I've given 100 quantity. So you can see the price here. 50,000. Okay, so this has to trigger the workflow because we have everything is met. The document type is met, the company code, and the order value also 50,000 INR. Right, so it has to trigger the workflow. Let's see if it triggers or not. Save it. This is the purchase order number. Copy. See, can you see it? This is a new tab. Before we had release strategy tab, right? Here we can see flexible workflow tab, which is a new tab. Once the flexible workflow is met, all the conditions and everything is met, you can see a flexible workflow tab here. And you can see release of purchase order. And this is 0%. This is again one more feature. It's a very good feature. Like if there are 10 recipients and only one approves, you can see it will be like 10% complete. Now this is only one approver is there, right? So once I approve it, it will be 100% complete. Or if we can come and see like who has approved and who has not approved, like if there are two recipients and only one approves, it will be 50% complete. So like that, you can see it here. Now you can see 0% complete, right? So now what I will do, I will log in as a purchase manager. I will come here. I will close this. Okay. I will log in as a purchase manager. So this is the purchase manager whom I have given as the one who has to approve. 1 minute. So
Takes some time, I think, to
yeah. See,
load.
he is the purchase manager. 1 minute. Sorry for the background. You can just go to App Finder and see whatever the app we need. We can type it here. Yeah. So now, so I'm not able to find my inbox. I can just come here and give my inbox. Manager will come. I'll log into his ID and he will search for my inbox app. It will be there in the top. Now I'm not able to see. Now it came to my inbox app. So here that bell icon which I was talking about, it will be here. You will get a notification like how we had this here, but now it's not there because it's not set up. This notification will be like this.
And even
There will be a
version,
bell icon here,
even version
extra bell
also.
icon here, and when you click on that, you will have all the notification. All these notifications will be there here. Approve.
Even version also different, right?
Ah,
Like in latest version, that will be there
yeah.
in
Okay,
this
this is
version.
yeah 2.0 and above. It should be. Yeah. And here you can see the purchase order which we created, workflow item it is. Similarly, if you want to see this, okay, you can go to SPWP also there, workflow item you can see in the ID, but let's not go there. Here you can see the workflow item here. Can you see here? It was created by my user, FI user. I created this and it's saying approve. And you can see the net value, who created, when it was created, who is the supplier, what is the payment terms and everything, purchase order, group, everything will manager will be able to see for which material I created, delivery date, what is the order quantity, everything. And we have option approve, reject, claim, forward. This forward in the sense if you have to forward it to anyone else, like if the purchase manager feels there is someone else who has to approve and he wants to forward it to him, again, prerequisite has to be met. And once it is there, he can just give forward. That ID will come here, he can forward it to him. If you want to claim, you can just keep this on hold, you can claim it later. And if you want to show logs here, you can see the logs. So let's not go there. Who, from where, which like hierarchy, like who has approved and what is the next step. Since there is only one approver here, there is only these many logs. Others you can see multiple logs here. Who is the next approver and everything he can see. Whom it will go to and everything. Okay, let's not go there. And two options, approve and reject. So I will come here, I will mention it as approve the purchase order. I'll give and I'll submit. It's gone. It's approved now. And now I'll come, I'll see here. I'll just refresh. You can see it 100% complete. It's not showing 100% complete because yeah, it is completed, right? So purchase order released by this guy. You can see the comments also, whatever the comments is given, approved the purchase order. This is the comment which I gave, right, as a manager. That also you can see here. Last updated, approved, purchase order and everything. Purchase order released. So once this is done, we can do our next step. So once the purchase order is released, we can do the goods receipt invoice, right? 1 second.
That part is not required, I think,
Right,
Mohan.
okay.
The goods receipt
Now,
and
yeah,
invoice, goods receipt invoice is not required, I feel. So that
yeah,
is
yeah.
as usual in
Thing.
same, right, in GUI or whatever,
Hmm.
like ECC,
Hmm.
what we do. Can you show one scenario of creating a PO and release strategy and reject and how it looks? That is enough,
Yes,
I think.
yes. Let me create one more.
You can copy the same PO, yeah.
Okay, no issues. I have already everything there. Everything is there in the drop down. Planned, okay, net price and everything. Save it.
Document. Didn't
Oh,
change.
sorry. Oh, sorry. I didn't change. So yeah, now if I go, it won't trigger. Actually, let's see that also. NB I gave, so
You
it
can
should
show
not
that
trigger.
also, like NB, it is not
Hmm.
reached prerequisite, right?
Yeah,
So if it
you
is
can't
not
see this.
activated means, if it is not activated means it is not there in the inbox,
Yeah,
right? You just check once and then later you can do it the rejection process.
you can come here. If you come here and refresh, also it won't be there. It's not made to the prerequisite. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't see this work order. And here also you can't see it here. There is no flexible workflow tab only.
Yes, correct,
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
it is not made because I have not maintained for that. Let me create one more. Everything is fine. Yes, everything is fine. Save it here. First, let's see if it is activated. You can see here it is in approval. This also you can see in approval. You can only display it. You can't edit it. You can see flexible workflow 0%. And go here. I think I have to log out. It's 1.4, right? I think I have to log out. I'm sure. Hey, this is how the app looks like. Mine works. Here it is.
There I can see one pin option. When we pin it, it will come to our main
Home
screen.
screen.
Home screen.
Yeah. If you can pin anything, we can create our own customized group, and we can maintain whatever apps we need
Okay.
and use it. Release will reject it. Let's see. Which is order rejected. You can come here and see. This is the, you'll get it as purchase order rejected. And you can see the comment purchase order rejected. And now you can't do anything. It will, once it is rejected, it will just cancel the workflow. You can't do anything to this app now. I mean, you can't do anything with the purchase order. You can't create a goods receipt, or you can't do anything with this. It will be just like that. You have to create a new purchase order and again meet all the prerequisites and send for approval. Now, once this is rejected, it's done. You can't do anything with this purchase order.
Okay. So unreject option is not there, like in the Fury side that manager can go and just do a
No.
reversal, or we had
No,
in
no,
a
no.
classic release strategy, right? So
That
somewhere.
again, exception handling, Prashun. In that exception handling, I had maintained if the purchase order is rejected, cancel the workflow.
Oh, completely cancel the workflow. Okay.
No,
There, from
cancel. I
there
had
you.
maintained like that. We can maintain, as you told, we can re-trigger the workflow, or you can continue that. In exception handling, I have to maintain.
Okay, got it. Very clear.
There.
And is it
Here.
possible to handle purchase requisition release process in workflow today, or we can have it tomorrow?
Okay, we can purchase requisition, the same thing, right?
Because we got one request from Deepak. Can we check for purchase requisition also? If data is ready, then you can show it, or else if you want to create some data, you can continue in other session, next session also.
I think let's see. I can just go here and add and check.
We have another 15 minutes time.
Yeah,
You can
let me
check
go and add
once.
and check.
Yeah, for one process you can try once.
Let's see quickly. I'll just add this overall release.
Okay.
But same thing. You have to go to purchasing, and you have to, instead of purchase order, you have to go to purchase requisition.
Others all keep your questions open until Pawan is going to handle purchase requisition process. So keep your questions open. Then at the end we can discuss on that also. Or if you want to add in the chat also, you can add in the chat also if any question is there.
Yeah, I added this workflow ID. This is for overall release of purchase requisition and activate it. Let's go here. User welcome it. Okay, now I logged in. Let's, this is purchase order. Let's see purchase requisition. You can see manage workflow for purchase requisition also we have. See, there are no current scenarios available. It will be like this one until you activate it. It's transportable. I activated it.
Again, screen got closed upon. I think it's just unmute yourself and share it. Pawan, are you there?
Yeah. I don't know why it was happening. I'll share again, sir.
No problem.
Can you see now?
Able to see your screen, Pawan. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just activated it for purchase requisition. Your purchase requisition, overall release of purchase requisition. Will give PR release. This description is not mandatory. You can, this validity period also you can just give next year or whatever. The start condition also, purchase requisition has few start condition for overall release, and this one again you can have multiple start conditions again that we have to maintain. We need a business add-in or whatever, based on business requirement we can maintain it. Now company code I'll give. This is only standard. The standard SAP has given only so much for requisition, and purchase order they've given more than this. If you want to maintain extra, we have to again do the setup and everything. Company code 1710 only I'll give. Let's see if it will work. I'm not sure. Again, price also you can give. Total net amount 200. Again, step sequence. Let's add. It's very simple. Overall release. User. It's applicable for everything. Once the HR org structure, everything is maintained, the user ID has to come here. Only two are there. And again, I told you this. If you want to check user ID is maintained, go to SC16N. There is a table called iEmployee table. You can just come here and just execute it. See, these many users are there, partner and everything, but only user ID is, you can see this. This is the role, business partner role, which I was telling, BUP. This is the role which has to be integrated for that ID. And you can see there are, for user ID only, there are two. Just everything is blank. These positions are blank. Once you run that report, these positions also will get filled. Here only the two user ID are there. So those two user IDs you can see here. So this is done by HR consultant. If you know we can do it, or HR consultant will do it for us. He will run this report and everything. He will set up the org structure and everything. So as of now, you come to iEmployee table, you can see there are only two IDs here. So these two IDs you can see here. Just give recipient. This again conditions deadline. I can see your deadline here. Let's see if you can see. In purchase order, we couldn't see. I don't know. There is some setup missing, but here you can see the deadline. Deadline calculation starts with creation of workflow instance. Deadline calculation starts with creation of workflow item instance. Let's queue this. Let's see deadline of 1 day or 2 day, 2 day, 3 day. We can give. Let's see how it works. You can see mark the step as overdue if it is not completed by this. If this is not completed by 3 days, then it will be mentioned as overdue. Like it is pending and it is overdue. And again, this question you were asking, right? If the purchase order is rejected, we can maintain either cancel the workflow or continue, or the repeat step or restart workflow.
Right. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Anyone we can maintain. I maintained as cancel workflow. That means you can't do anything after that.
Okay.
Okay. This over and save it. Let's see if it will work. Activate it. Just I'll just define the order. I'll get it first. Save it, and I'll deactivate this for now. This is deactivated. Only this is activated. Let's try creating a requisition. Okay. One more thing is to check if it is activated at document type level, right?
You can try with NB, yeah. Or
NAB.
NAB, yeah.
Okay. Let's see if this will work. NAB. Okay. The level thing, sorry. Not created. I think there is an issue with this number. Number names forward in documented it is not defined. Roshan, I think there is some number range issue. I'll just activate it for
Try with
NB and later we'll change it.
try with NB only. NB is proper setup will be there.
Yeah,
So instead of NAB.
yeah. Flexible workflow. Activate flexible workflow.
Go to position and you can try.
Attention. Overall release. Okay. Okay, one just group, and the value was will give.
It's in USD that you can convert. Yeah, that's okay. You can make it INR also.
I think it will allow it. Okay. Now company code land. I think company code. Okay. Let's see if this will trigger. Do we see this? I think it is not triggered. Wait a second. Something is not met here. 100. Start condition. NB. I think this also have to activate. I'm not sure. Okay, this is. Let's create one more. That's creating. Here it is. I got created. Cannot actually.
Maybe that checkbox, that
Yeah.
overall, that is the thing need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Here it shows as flexible workflow. Here you can see it as approval details. In purchase requisition, there's a difference. I mean, it shows as approval details. It doesn't show as flexible workflow, but it doesn't show as release strategy also. It just shows as approval details. Same thing. Overall release of purchase requisition ready. Everything seen here. Let's see if this flows to my inbox.
Now you just pin that my inbox to our main screen, if possible.
Yeah, I can do that. To pin that, I have to go to App Finder only.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah.
I can't do it here. Yeah. Okay, so I can just come here. Go to App Finder. Go to my inbox. In this, you have all the options here. So many are there. That is based on the tabs which they maintain. I'll just give my home. When you come back, you can come to here. These are the options, right? My home, you can see here. And you can see the items also. Okay, this is again how many items are pending for approval. 12 items are there. Manager will get to see. And you can see the requisition. Okay, 100,000 and everything. Just you can see the item also. I think it will, yeah, I'll just show the item. Let's just show the item. This is a purchase requisition. Approve. Yeah. Done. We'll come here. Refresh it. Digital list.
Okay,
It is
great,
released.
great, yeah.
Okay.
So any
Then you
questions are there? Like this, that's it, right? Are
yeah,
you going
that's
to
it.
share any other part of flexible workflow other than this? I think this is only done, right? Okay.
Yeah, if there is anything like you can cover, I mean, if this is the only features and everything is I've told, then that extra conditions and all that depends on the business requirement if you need. And yes, that's it. These are the features which they've introduced till now. Deadline
Anyway,
is 31st
in
January.
future, if someone says, okay, this is need to be covered, that is need to be covered, okay, we are
Mm.
going to add this in the social media and
Mm.
let them come back and then we can explore and we can explain. No issues at all. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
any
yeah.
questions there? Now it's a question time, Q&A time. We have another 1 minute left, but we can extend for another 10 minutes for your
Mm.
as per your convenience. Okay. So you just go ahead, just stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you just note down also if any questions are there, or you can drop a message also. Someone raised hand. Okay, Deepak, can you go ahead with your question? I think you raised for that purchase requisition only or something else. I can see your hand raised. Vibha, Shabuddin, Hari, Ranjit, Dikshit, Avinash, Dhanush, Vikas, many are there. So any question do you have for Pawan, like you wanted to ask that is running in your mind that you want to clarify?
Yes, sir. This is Avinash.
Yes, Avinash, go ahead.
It's like while approving, so there was one option like claim, like reject and everything. This is like what is that claim? Can I know exactly?
Claim Pawan already explained. Like it is later onwards that can be claimed. Can you give a little more information, Pawan, in your experience?
Yeah, so claim is basically for as if you see there is deadline as such, right? So now once you go to the my inbox, if the purchase manager doesn't want to approve right away, and if he feels like he has to contact and check like why this was raised and everything, he doesn't want to reject as also. He doesn't want to reject also. He doesn't want to approve also. He just wants to keep it on hold. So you can just press that claim button and it will be on hold, and then later we can unclaim it and you can approve it. When you claim it, you will get an I mean the ones who created, they will get to know that it is still not approved. It is just claimed in as such. It is just kept. He has not approved it, and then on later days, later when he is clarified with whatever the purchase order and requisition is raised, why it is raised, why this amount is raised. Once he is clarified, he will unclaim it and he'll approve it.
Yeah, thank you, Pawan. Got it.
Yeah. So that is how it is.
Good question, Avinash. Yeah. Any other questions are there?
So another one is there in suspend. What will the action, sir, in this?
Yeah, Pawan.
Okay. Suspend. 1 second. Suspend even. I think this is will be suspended until it won't be rejected till particular date. It will be suspended, I guess, and then later again it will be re-triggered. I have not much. We have not done any suspended scenarios as such, but I think this is suspended until when you click on suspend, right? There will be a particular date which will be mentioned, so the manager can suspend it until then, and then later he can again come to this, and I think once it's like rejection only, but not completely rejected. It will be suspended to a particular date, and then I think there is something they maintain and do it. I'm not particularly sure, but I can just come back to you with this. I think it is similar to rejection only, but it is to a particular. Rejection is completely you're rejecting it. You are just rejecting it. Either you have to create a new one on based on exception handling. You have to whatever the settings you maintain. But suspend is there is a particular date till which it is suspended, and then later I think it can be re-triggered or something like that. And forward is yeah, that's how it is.
We can come back on that, Pawan.
Yeah. I
If
think I'm not that clear about suspend, but I will get back to you on this. I will check and get back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi Pawan.
Yes.
Deepak, yeah. You just say your name. Deepak is here, yeah.
Yeah, Deepak this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, after approving the purchase requisition, if we are giving the source of supply, will it again re-trigger the workflow or?
No. Once you assign the source of supply, then it goes for purchase order creation, right? So there, if purchase order is maintained workflow, then it will re-trigger. Purchase requisition part is done, right? Then if you assign the source of supply and then you create a purchase order, right? Depending on how you have to create, and then for purchase order also, if I maintain the workflow, it will re-trigger. Otherwise, it won't.
Because I have checked in the system that
Okay.
whenever I am creating a PR, after that approval, if I am assigning the source of supply, it's again going for the approval.
You mean once you apply, once you approve the purchase order,
Not
and then
purchase order,
again
purchase requisition.
purchase requisition, and once the source of supply you assign, you made some changes in the purchase requisition, and yeah, if you
No.
make that is what you're making some change in the purchase requisition. If you have to apply assign source of supply, you have to go to again the same requisition and assign source of supply, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then again that is dependent on if you have to re-trigger the workflow, you can re-trigger the workflow, or if you don't want to re-trigger the workflow, once it is approved, once you assign the source of supply also, it will be like that only, or it will go to purchase order. And if you want to re-trigger the workflow, that is also possible.
Let me restructure it. Let me restructure the question. Okay. Deepak is asking. So he has he has created a PR. It got released, approved. Okay. Then he will go again and
Got it.
assign the source of supply. And that time again, PR is getting really like going for approval process.
Yes.
So this is changing the PR. So
Yes.
definitely when we are changing any purchase requisition or purchase order,
Yes.
it should re-trigger the release strategy. So how this conditions can be maintained, like whether to go as a, see in the classic we had option, whenever we change anything, then it has to go for a release strategy, or you can stop not to re-trigger the release strategy. That's condition we had. Okay, the same way it is there in the flexible workflow also. If you have more idea on that, Pawan, you can add here, or you can take it as a question and we can come back.
Yeah, I got it. So whenever you do some changes, right? Yeah, usually when you do some changes, it will re-trigger the workflow, as you told, right? If you maintain a source of supply, again come to ME52 and then maintain a source of supply, it ideally re-triggers the workflow again. But as how we had an option there in, I guess in release or release indicator or somewhere we used to maintain, right?
Exactly. Yeah. In the
I
indicator
get
option
like
we had.
the release indicator option there. If you want, once it is changed, is done again. Again, it will go to. We have to go to ME54 and do here. I think it will. Once the change is done, there is some setting, Prashant, where if you want to re-trigger, we can based on order value or something. Here, since we are applying, giving source of supply, it will ideally re-trigger. But if you do want to re-trigger also, there is an option. I think that is customized. We have to again do some change in the code or something like that. But ideally, till there, right? It will re-trigger and do any change in ME52 and it will re-trigger.
Okay.
Any change you change, come and change the purchase org also, purchase group also. I think it will re-trigger. Or if you change the net value also, if it will re-trigger.
My question to Deepak is it in real time or a practice system you're trying this?
Yeah, it's practice system.
Practice only, right? In the HANA system only.
Yeah, it's in cloud.
Cloud option. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that conditions and how this can be stopped or need to re-trigger. There will be some activity will be there. So we will research on that and we'll come back on that. No problem. Just note down also, Pawan, if you want to look
sure,
into
sure.
that. Yeah. Any other question? You can put on any questions. If it is simple, silly question also, we are here to answer your questions. Because finally, our intent is like to clarify all your doubts, and even knowledge should be like you have to gain the knowledge from us, right? Yeah. Mohan, Tushar, Rakshit, Sankrant, Shweta.
Rakshit here.
Yeah, Rakshit, go ahead.
Hello, Prashant. Regarding this one, you already asked the question actually regarding recipient hierarchy. Where exactly it is maintained?
Pawan already explained about the teams, right? There is a team option that can be grouped, and there will be a hierarchy can be done. And in a normal this also approval, we have only one option here in the system now. Okay, one manager we have selected Unmukchan, someone that which is available. But in a real time, that we have to take a support of HCM consultant who is going to maintain all the business partner in the system. Okay, from there, you can prioritize. Okay, who is first, who is next. The levels will be done in that also, right? Pawan, if I'm wrong, correct me.
No, yeah, it's correct. Where we maintain the team and we maintain the levels of approver, and then if I show you now also there is some security setting. I checked it, but again once that is maintained, they have to give access to approve this everything. So once you teams and responsibilities, it's not only particular for flexible workflow. Teams and responsibility is introduced for many other activities also, like to maintain team and levels. Once you maintain that for particular operational procurement, there is some more concept in that. Then you can maintain levels of approver, and then it has to be, it has to be checked. There's some authorization check to be performed, and then it is ideally it is possible. It is possible to maintain level 1, level 2, level 3 approvers and all.
If I get access to that, another May user 80, another ID is there, right? Which is already set up is done. Like same like June, that user 37. If I get access to May user 80 with the password and all, so is that this kind of setting like a process can be shown to audience like in next session?
I have to check that. I have to check that person.
Yeah. I'll see from my end also. If
Yeah.
possible, we can show by using two levels. Two people are there, two approvers are there, and how exactly you can work on that. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe in upcoming session.
Yeah.
Okay, Rakshit. Is it clear right for you at this moment?
Yeah, okay, and that means the user who creates the purchase order doesn't have any control over the hierarchy.
Again, this question to Pawan, yeah.
No. Once you can see that once it is created user, it will be in approval status. You can't do the changes once it still is approved.
So Rakshit's question is like, just let me restructure it. He's asking like I'm the buyer. I'm going to create the purchase order. Okay. So there is no action from my end, right? Like I have to release the purchase order.
No, if we create, we won't ideally have to release, right? If we maintain our idea as the release, then it will come to our my inbox and we will release it. Until then, we don't have any action.
That is the question, right, Rakshit?
That means in the regular purchase releasing process, we can control this one hierarchy and all. Here it's not possible.
It is possible. It is possible, Rakshit. That's why in a class in our flexible workflow, we have to depend on other department, or maybe I can say consultant, SCM consultant, who is going to maintain all the partner role, all that. So from that, this can be managed, and this can be hierarchy can be maintained. From there, you can So Rakshit is the first level of approval. Then Sankrant is going to release. Then Danush, or next is Avinash, like that. Okay, there are 4 levels are there in the organization with according to the price. Example, the price is 1000 USD or 5000 USD or 10,000 USD or 50,000 USD. Then that time definitely the same process which is taken in the classical strategy, right? Same thing is carried out in the flexible workflow also. The benefit is like not required to go to a SAP GUI and all to release. It is available in the app itself. Example, you are using one app your role is there something which has to approve this many purchase order, then it will be showing in your inbox. Okay, 10 open items are there. Rakshit has to release this. Okay, Sankrant has 6 items. He has to release that PO which is there in his inbox. Okay, so everyone has their own role. According to that role only, the release approval will come to their inbox. If it is higher value, okay, the person who is having more experience and has a higher position in the organization, he has authority to release it. So the same process, Rakshit.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the showing part, yeah, you are expecting something which is there in a classic release strategy. Okay, 4 levels are showing in the top of the header level PO. Okay, 4 people are there. It is very clearly you can see it, right? But now it comes to Fury or a workflow. So everyone has their own inbox, has their own role, right? Even there are like you have seen one line in the flexible workflow, one line like name is Unmukh Chand. Okay, there are multiple people are there, it will show multiple names in that lines. That's that simple.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, Pawan? Or anything I said
No, that's correct. I have
wrong?
one screenshot.
Okay,
No,
okay.
it's correct. I had a screenshot, but I'm not able to paste that. That's okay. I will show it in the
Okay, if you have any screenshot of such activities which you have taken in some other system, you can share in the group also, no issues. Okay, later on.
This is the one. This is the one I stopped. Can you see it? But this is something.
Yeah, this is the
Like
one.
this is
2 levels are there, right? Level
like
1,
this.
level 2. Rashid, are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Under the step sequence, it will be like this. This is a sales document which I had, but I have not done it. We can check it later. We can check it later.
Yeah. If you find something, any detailed information, then you can hide some details and you can show only levels of something.
I was trying to paste that screenshot. I couldn't paste it here.
No issues. You can post it in the group. Okay, later
okay.
all can watch, look into it.
Okay.
Okay then. So all good. So it was wonderful session by Pawan. I appreciate your effort, and I think you handled this much big team. 22 people joined initially and few left because of today's working day for someone. Okay, tomorrow we'll catch up again at 6:30 a.m. Okay, with the concept of business partner, which is already conducted by Mohan before, but I want to have a session from your end, Pawan, where you can explain detailed info about how to handle business partner creation and configuration, number ranges. Okay, so whatever you can cover, you can cover it tomorrow, and also give us a more detailed demonstration on the app management. Okay, how to make a one folder. Okay, this folder manufacturing you can keep this. Okay, procurement you can keep this. All that structuring in the Fury app. Okay, and how to run one activity, you can show about how to create a purchase order in the app instead of GUI. Okay, how it will reflect from Fury to GUI. That activity you can show for one example, not to show everything. That is not possible also. And in future you are like exploring few application which even I am not explored or any other in this group explored, but you got into that exposure, right? So that is very new. That also you can present us. Okay, this is the application which is released in 2020 or 1909, because we are having 1909 only system as of now to show and set up every data. Okay, latest version, if anything comes up, we can present it, we can explain. Okay,
Sure.
okay, thanks very much, Pawan, for your time. And it's early morning, it's very difficult to conduct such session. Okay, if anyone have any questions or any concern, you can drop a message in the group, or you can send a voice message, anything you can do, and we'll reply upon that. Okay, thanks to all. Happy weekend and good day. Bye.
Thank you all.
Pressure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good.